Yes, sir. I read all of that and it was hard keeping up with.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And part of being on parole is making yourself easy to keep up with.
Right.
I wrote down, the word I wrote down, just so you'll know, I wrote down slippery.
Slippery.
When I read that thing, I said, that fella's slippery. You can't be slippery when you're on parole.
I know, sir. I know.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Well, that's the former sheriff of Louisiana, and he does have a way with words. We're about to watch Louisiana parole revocation hearings. That means that they were on parole, they violated, and now it's up to the parole board to decide whether they have to serve their full sentence or if they can go back. That let's jump.
I assume you are Lorenzo Caesar, correct? Evidently not. Okay, now, there we go. Okay. Yes, sir. We are in Baton Rouge at the Department of Corrections, and we're the three folks on the parole board that are going to hear your revocation hearing. You are Lorenzo Caesar, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, and the time is 10 o'clock, and so it's July the 10th of 2024. And my name is Steve Prater. I'll be the acting chairman today. And to my left is Pete Freeman. To my right is Chucky Tillis. And your DOC number is 470775. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We're here to talk about your parole revocation. And you're at Riverbend Detention Center. And I've got three things I'm going to read to you, rule violations. After each one of them, I'm going to ask, are you guilty or not guilty? Okay. Here's the first rule violation that you're charged with. It's a rule 3. You have moved multiple times without notifying a supervising fish officer. Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Okay. Okay. Rule number 2, but it's infraction violation 4, says on March the 5th of 2024, you engaged in new criminal conduct resulting in your arrest by the Lake Charles Police Department. You were charged with domestic abuse battery upon a pregnant victim. The charges were refused by the 14th JDC DA's office on 3/25/24 due to the victim signing an affidavit. Are you guilty of having violated that rule or not?
Not guilty, sir.
Okay, the final one, you have failed to provide verification of making payments towards supervision fees, and you are in arrears of $504. Guilty or not guilty?
I'm guilty on that because my truck broke, but I was working.
Okay, we'll get into that in just a moment. Okay, all right. The way we handle these hearings is that each one of the three of us draws certain cases. In your case, it's mine, so I'll take the lead in questioning you, and then we'll turn it over to them for questions, and then we will have a vote. But before we do that, is there anything you'd like to say that?
Oh yeah, that about this case.
Well, we'll just wait, I guess, and go over my rule violations and let you say it at that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. You've moved multiple times without notifying a supervisor or a supervising agent. Is that, you said that's not true?
Yeah, it's not true. He called me. I finally got a call back and told him the way that when I called and checked on him to let him know where I was at, he came by my house and I wasn't there. So when I told him that I was moving back to Lake Charles, and he said, well, I said, but you want me to come in and see you the week? And he told me, no, just go when I get to Lake Charles, verify to Lake Charles parole officer to let him know that I was moving. Now, yeah, I told him about it was going to be a week. When I finally get to Lake Charles, the night I moved, I go to jail the same night. So I didn't get a chance to tell him that I had moved. But I did contact my PO and that was in Lafayette.
Yes, sir. I read all of that, and and it was hard keeping up with.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And part of being on parole is making yourself easy to keep up with.
Right.
I wrote down, the word I wrote down, just so you'll know, I wrote down slippery.
Slippery.
When I read that thing, I said, that fella's slippery. You can't be slippery when you're on parole.
I know, sir. I know.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's talk about the next one. This domestic abuse of a pregnant victim. You were arrested a few months ago, and then the charges end up being dropped. It seems as though y'all got into a little old spat there. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, I was sitting down eating, and as I was eating, she got a text from my ex, and she was saying some stuff about what I had told her. Like I broke off my ex from Lafayette. So after that, she got mad. She telling me to get out the house. She blowing out the portion as I was just laying down in bed. So she kept telling me, get the F out, get the F out. So I finally got up. I said, you serious? She said, yes, I'm serious. So as I'm packing my stuff, she poured water in my face. Well, so when she poured water in my face, I didn't do that. I goes outside, put my luggage outside, and grab my basket. And that's when the cops pulled up. I grabbed my bag before the cops pulled up. And as I'm coming back out the house, as I'm trying to get out the house, she's in front of the door. Telling me, no, don't go, don't leave, don't leave. I'm like, get out of my way, let me go, because I'm tired of all this mess, this confusion. My mom just died, and I had enough. So she gets mad. She's still in front of the door. So I just kind of pushed her like out my way. That's all I did. And she called the cops.
Did you throw water on her?
No, she threw water on me, sir. No,
You never
do that. I never do that.
Hey, did you choke her? Or did you put your hands on her neck? Or?
No, I pushed her right here, sir. Out my way.
How'd she get marks on her neck? We got some pretty good pictures.
Oh, I know she got marks already, like black marks and stuff on her neck, but I never put no marks on her neck. I never. She get like polka dot marks or whatever. I never put no marks on her. I never choked her.
Mm-hmm.
I got a daughter and a granddaughter. I would never. And then I just lost my mom. I would never put my hand on a woman.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then rule number 10 says you owe $504.
Yes, sir. And my truck, I was working in Lafayette at Golden Corral. My truck broke down on me. Once it broke down on me, I didn't have the funds. I had only got but like 3 checks I worked for. And when my truck broke down, that's when everything just went downhill for me. I had no ride to work. I lost my job, and I couldn't pay y'all a penny of nothing. I was gonna start paying, but I know if you give me another opportunity to get back out there, and I get this offshore job, y'all, because I've been on parole before, and I paid. They put me on unsupervised parole. That's how good I did, and I know I can do the same thing, and I won't get in no more trouble. But I will pay. That's one thing.
Okay.
I did a standing good job on my last time on parole.
You were saying, tell me a little bit more about the altercation when you were trying to leave. She called the police before you left, or she called them after you brushed her aside?
But she called them right when I brushed her aside. Like when I pushed off out my way, she called them right then and there. And I'm trying to talk to her about the situation. Like, what did I do? What did I do? Then I ain't got no transportation from Lake Charles to Lafayette. I'm like, I'm gonna be outside. Like, then when she called me, so that's when the laws pull up and stuff.
You had to pack your things and set them outside to leave?
Yes, sir. I got one thing out there. When I went to get my other basket of luggage, a basket of clothes, that's when she called the laws.
So if you're released, where do you plan to live and what do you plan to do?
Well, we be talking and stuff on the phone, and we beyond that. But I'm moving back to Lake Charles.
You're not gonna move?
Sir?
Her?
If I'm gonna move back with her?
Yes,
No, sir.
you're not gonna live with her.
No, but we're gonna try to work out things.
When you say work out, you don't mean getting back with her. You're gonna move, you're gonna have another place to live.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, I have no more questions.
Mr. Dose?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I don't have any questions.
Okay, what's holding me up here is the fact that you were slippery and the marks on her neck. It boils down to that for me.
Okay. But I didn't put the marks on it. I don't think she had no marks.
Vote.
I don't, that's great.
Okay, I gotta vote first and I'm having trouble trying to decide what to do with you
Just,
because
I'm a very good person, sir. And I know we make mistakes in this world, but that's something I did not do. And I understand y'all gotta make a vote, but I just wish y'all could make the right vote for me, man. Because I don't belong here. Look, and I didn't do nothing wrong to come here. And I was going to get a good job for ESS. I had an interview with them and I was gonna start paying y'all. Like I said, I paid so good last time. They put me on unsupervised parole. I didn't even know they could do that. Yeah.
is there any conditions that we can put on?
You put whatever conditions you want.
Have you ever had a domestic violence?
No,
Right.
sir. Not in my life. No, sir. I'm not a domestic person. I'm not. I'm a human. I get along with everybody. I love kids. I get along with my neighbors. I help the community out when I can. Yeah.
Just why is she not here today?
Because I told her you have to do it on Zoom. That's what was going to do it on Zoom.
Uh-huh. Don't you think it would be important for her to be here?
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know she was supposed to come. I thought I swear I didn't know. I wish I could have called her and tell her that. I would have let her know.
Yeah.
She said it's happened before. She said that this had happened before, roughing her up and all that, so.
No. We didn't have
All right, I want you to, my vote is to allow you not to be revoked, but that you've got to have a domestic violence class. And go through there and you just, at least, you gotta think about what you're doing or what you're doing.
my actions. Yes, sir. I understand that. I understand that.
So. My vote is to revoke. The pictures are just there, and I don't see why she would call law if something didn't happen and you were still there when the law got there. So my vote today is to revoke.
My vote is to do not revoke with conditions as Mr. Prater.
And we'll work with you.
2 out of 3, does that grant him? It does. Okay, so you've been granted.
You've been
I mean,
granted,
not granted, you've been not revoked.
yeah, you've been not revoked, but you're going to have to get a class. Now, I don't know
The
how.
probation officer set that up.
Okay,
Get with them and they go send you to the class. Say 8-week class.
8-week class?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, now I'm not playing with you, okay? And
I know y'all not. Trust me.
first time that they tell me that you've gotten slippery again,
Listen,
I'll have you right in there, and I promise my vote will be different.
yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
That concludes the hearing.
Thank y'all. They let me go. They let me go.
Well, even he was surprised, and I didn't think they would grant him because they got the pictures with the marks, and he said the whole slippery thing, and I mean, it almost felt like a coin flip right there. And the way these hearings are run and how they even allowed him to get the last word in when they were voting, I think makes you appreciate Miss Renatza a little bit. I mean, that she would have said, "Stop talking." If she was there, she would have been like, "Stop talking. It's our turn. We're done. We're voting now." She is tough, and she does run a tight ship, and it's been interesting watching this panel up without her support. I kind of do feel that the women in this Louisiana parole board that we have today are the strongest of the bunch so far from what we've seen, the toughest, maybe I should say. But they, we're gonna have another hot mic actually following this one because they keep the mics on, so we'll stick around for that. But I don't have much to say. It is, we are very used to seeing these hearings, and what we're also used to seeing is the woman coming up and saying what happened. But I'm sorry, showing up and saying, "Oh, it was all a misunderstanding. It didn't happen. I didn't." And in this case, she didn't show up. And one might think that that should have been, if anything, some type of signal to, because almost without fail, they'd show up and say that nothing happened. So it's quite interesting that she didn't. But they're going to send him through a program. I don't know how much time he's backing. I don't have information on him. Richard pulled up his record here, his name. I have it in the spreadsheet, but I don't have any information, so I can't provide any of that. But we'll do another revocation hearing, and again, we get another hot mic at the end. And with that, let's jump in.
Man, that's
I've got a list of violations here, and after I read each one, I'm going to ask you, are you guilty or not guilty of that? Okay, and then we'll go into some more detail in just a little bit. All right. The first rule violation is the number 2. It says you were ordered by your parole officer to report to the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office to take care of a warrant that was issued due to you being involved in a domestic abuse case. You failed to turn yourself in and was later arrested by the Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office for the outstanding warrant. Did you do that?
no,
Guilty or not guilty?
not guilty.
Okay. This is another rule, but it's a number 4 rule. You were arrested on 7/7/23 by the Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office on an outstanding warrant from East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office domestic abuse battery child endangerment warrant. You were billed with domestic abuse with child endangerment under the East Baton Rouge docket DC 23-03-777. In an attempt to have the charges dropped, your girlfriend later filed an affidavit stating that the minor lied about you choking him because he was jealous. Then on April the 15th of 24, before Judge Gail Ray in the 19th Judicial District, you pled guilty to the lesser offense of disturbing the peace by fighting a fistic encounter against Shamantha Dixon, LARS 14-103A1, and sentenced to 90 days in parish prison credit for time served. Guilty, not guilty?
Not guilty.
Rule 10, you have made 0 payments toward your supervision fee as of 4/17/24. You owe $1,071 as well as a $65 processing fee. Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Okay. All right. Well, I'm the one that's supposed to ask you questions, and so according to this, we're wasting our time here because you didn't do any of this. Is that correct?
Under certain circumstances.
Okay, well, let's start with the domestic violence thing, and then we'll work into you not reporting after you told there's a warrant for you. The domestic violence, you're supposed to have accused of grabbing somebody under the age of 13 during this domestic abuse charge and pulling that person into another room and then putting your arm or your hand, but I think your arms around their neck. And that's what you were charged with in that particular case. And we also had witnesses. So tell me about that.
All right, as far as the story on hand, like my paperwork is fabricated. That was never the situation. I was coming home from work and I didn't have a ride, so I told my girlfriend, which is Samantha Dixon, to come pick me up, and she notified me and told me that the car dealership had came possessed her car. She not gonna be able to come pick me up. And I was working at the Mall of Louisiana at the time, and it was like 10 o'clock. The Mall of Louisiana closed at 10. So like all the employees and all the the shoppers, they got to be going off the premises. So as time rolling, I'm looking for a ride. So I finally get me a ride with somebody that worked with me. And the lady dropped me off home. And the process of me coming out the car, Samantha Dixon, she was coming out the apartment. She seen a female dropping me off home. So now her antennas lighting up. She thinking, I'm messing around with another female or not. So as I go upstairs in the house, it's only me, Samantha Dixon, and her son Cashmere Dixon. The lights are off. Before I went to work, I gave Samantha Dixon $200 to pay the light bill. So I'm asking her, why the lights off? Cashmere in his room sleep. She wasn't worrying about my question. She kept asking me about who's the lady that dropped me off and this and that and that. So I see that you on some other type of time. So I ignored you going to shower. As I'm in the shower, Samantha Dixon broke in the shower. Well, she came in the bathroom because I closed and locked it. Because the type of time she's on, what I'm saying? I'm fresh home from jail. I'm not really trying to argue with nobody or get into that. So Samantha Dixon come in the bathroom, grab my phone, and run off with my cell phone. I don't chase, I let her go. I continue to wash myself. I come out the shower with just me and Cashmere in the apartment, Samantha gone. I step outside to see she stepped outside. She's nowhere to be found. So I go back into the apartment, lay down in the bed, and Samantha's best friend come in. And in the mix of Samantha's best friend coming in, she goes straight to Cashmere room. And she tell Cashmere, she like, come on, pack some of your things. You and your mother come and stay at my house tonight. So I told her best friend, I'm like, Cashmere can't go nowhere until Samantha come up and get her child. I can't just let you come get him. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, just me, Samantha, and Cashmere, we stay here. I don't even know you for you to come get the little boy. So I picked him up and put him on my hip. You know what I'm saying? Then I go to my bedroom and set him on the bed. So Samantha comes, she throw my phone in the hallway, and I left. I get a call from Samantha Dixon telling me to come turn myself in. I'm like, what you talking about? She like, the police want to talk to you. I'm like, for what? You told me to leave, so I left. You want me to turn around now to come back? You know what I'm saying? So later on in life, I contacted my parole officer and let him know. I'm like, hey man, do I have a warrant for my arrest? He looked it up in the system. He said, no, you don't have no warrant for probation and parole. I said, well, look, Mr. Nick, I think I have a warrant for East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office. He looked it up. He said, if you do, he say, handle. I don't want to fabricate his words, but I still have via text messages of him telling me like, long as it's not with probation and parole, he is not worrying about the warrant. You know what I'm saying? I'm asking, how can we get this warrant eradicated? So I could avoid this. It's like, well, just you and Samantha, y'all just, go to the DA's office and, things like that. And they just told me like, I got to get incarcerated in order for her to drop the charges. And that's how that stuff is doing. That's why she's been here for me since day one. Her son finally came out and told her, the truth. Because they arrested me for strangulation or whatever it is, but charged me for a fistic encounter with Samantha Dixon. Like, that's two different charges. Like, that tell you the whole situation was fabricated.
How old is the child?
I believe Anthony, he's around 10, 11.
Okay. And you took the child, you wouldn't let the child go. Did you pull the child by the arm?
No, I picked him up and set him on my hip. He's 10 years old, like he's small. I just put him on my hip and brought him to my bedroom.
A 10-year-old? Sometimes they ain't that small, but
But he's 13 too. He's not 10.
Yeah. I'm 6'3". My grandfather Ernie Ladd, big cat, so I'm a big person. I ain't small, so you know.
okay. And we had a witness that saw that says that you pulled the child into the room and wouldn't let them go or anything like that. A witness said that, and the child said that. And I mean, how do we get around that? You're saying it didn't happen, but they're saying it did.
It was fabricated. That's what I'm saying. Like she was working with Samantha. Samantha got her son to work with the police, and then when it all unfolds, she realized what she was doing is wrong. She's been admitted to the mental house and all type of things. So when she realized what she was doing, it was wrong because she came.
But you end up pleading guilty to something though out of this. Disturbing fighting. Correct? You pled guilty to something behind this situation, correct?
Correct. Disturbing the peace by fighting.
Okay, so something did happen that you pled guilty to. And tell me about this warrant thing again, because that's not what your parole officer says. They said they told you to turn yourself in and you didn't for 6 months until you were caught.
All right, now see when I came home on parole, I've been through 4 different parole officers. I never met not one of them in person. I called Mr. Carmouche and I called the other 2, and they finally gave me Nicholas. I believe that's his name. If you spoke to him, Nicholas will tell you I'm always the one calling him. He's never called me. I'm video calling him. It's me contacting him. He's never contacted me. So, and I called him and brought this to his desk. And like, he got an email saying, hey, look, your employee, he's have a warrant for his arrest and stuff. And I still have me and his via text messages of what I'm saying right now. Of him telling me he's not worried about it because it's not a warrant for probation and parole. To this day, I still have those via text messages.
So for this 6-month period that you're on the lam, that you are wanted during that 6-month period, were you checking in with your parole officer on a monthly basis like you're supposed to do?
Not monthly, I wouldn't say monthly, but I was also enrolled in a class for probation and parole. So once a week, I go to probation and parole, the office, and I take a drug screen, and just once a week. So I don't report to my parole officer, but I do report to the office once a week, and I take a drug screen once a week. And all that should be on record. I was in a class. I was taking a drug screen once a week. Had my own job, my own apartment. I'm paying $1,200 for rent, etc. And that's straight out of incarceration.
That doesn't make sense to me that the parole officer says they order you to turn yourself in. I think that was in January,
Correct.
if I'm mistaken.
I think what you said yourself was, he said that you would have to be in jail to get this straight. Didn't he tell you that?
No, that's what the people that work at the DA office told me.
Right. I mean, they got to execute the warrant before they're gonna recall it.
Correct. Because me and Samantha Dixon, we was going around everywhere, to try to get the charges dropped. So that's when they just told us, like, you can't just drop the charge, Ms. Dixon. You got to get incarcerated, and you go from there. Because the state was gonna pick it up,
Okay, let's see. How about owing $504? You owe any money?
You said 500.
Yes, sir.
All right, now that sounds more correct. I pleaded not guilty because I never owed probation over $1,000.
Okay, I was reading from the wrong thing. That is my fault.
Right. I
See, you owe $1,071.
No, I only owe $5. Prior for me coming to jail, it was at $504, which you had just said. Now when the parole office came and I signed a waiver, a paper,
and it said it said $1,000, $75, and I'm like, they must have kept charging me since I've been in jail. I can't pay no fees while I'm in jail.
Yeah, that may be the case. I don't know. That's all the questions that I have from you.
I have a question. Back to this, why would you plead guilty to a fabricated charge?
All right, now that's a good question. Now, I've been sitting in jail for a year, as you can see. I have an apartment, I have a car of my own, and I got tired of the setbacks, and I ain't never been on parole. I never had no domestic. I don't know anything about the system, in other words. So people are just telling me, you know, inmate.com, like, just get your charge and drop to a lesser charge and you know, cop out. And that's what I did. You know, I went for it, and not knowing that I should have went all the way to trial. You know what I'm saying? And got my charge completely dropped. You know, so I just copped it out to lesser charge so I could hurry up get back. Because since I've been gone, two of my kids, two of my daughters, they had to move to their mother in Minnesota because of my absence. You know, so I'm trying to hurry up, get back to the world.
That's all I have.
How long have you been incarcerated?
July 7th, make it a year.
And the girl that you were living with, she's trying to drop the charges against you?
Yes, sir. We was trying to drop the charges before I actually came to jail.
So where is she now? Do you stay in contact with her?
Off and on, only due to court basis, but she did move on with her life since I've been incarcerated, and we do have, you know, connection or whatnot, but it's nothing major. It's, you know, I learned from my mistakes. She learned from hers.
So if you're granted to be released, what do you plan to do? You're going to go back and get a job?
Okay, yes, sir. I have God say the same. I have a railroad job. My brother's holding on for me.
And who do you plan to live with?
When I come home, I have some money put up. I was gonna get my own apartment, but push come to shove, I was gonna stay with my cousin who I was staying with when I first came from being incarcerated.
Okay. No more questions. Okay, this was my case, so I'm the first one to vote. And Mr. Williams, I can't get over the fact that you had witnesses and you have a young child and they're saying one thing, and even though you're not admitting to that, you did plead guilty to something lesser than that. And so I just don't, and I just don't completely buy all the story that you're giving. And my vote is that you be revoked.
I think you have a bad shot. And my vote's going to be to do not revoke. You seem like you've been working, and I believe your story. So I hope you have good luck. But my vote is to do not revoke.
Mr. Williams, you know, even if I believed your story, you did plead guilty. You have done already a year. So you know, you've been around, you're gonna be walking out of there. I'm pretty sure that's why you said that's going to have the hearing. So you can get that year credit, and then they'll calculate your time. But as far as the revocation goes, my vote is to revoke due to the criminal violations that you pled to.
All right, the 2-1. And so the vote of the board, the majority is to revoke you. So I'm sorry to give you that news, but it's, you know, the system well as we do, and that'll be the end of this hearing. Thank you.
If I may, can I ask you a question?
One question, and I don't know if we can answer.
All right, now this is my question. Like I said, I got charged for one thing and got arrested. I got arrested for one thing, got charged for another. And as you see the paperwork that's in front of you, even like if you could call her right now, she'll tell you the whole situation. Like, I didn't fabricate anything.
That should have been, your lawyer should have brought that up.
I don't have a lawyer. I have a public defender.
I mean, regardless.
You pled to it, and that's all we have.
That's all we got.
On us. That'll conclude this hearing. It's 10:38.
That's fucked up. Man, that's fucked
Tillis. The more I watch Tillis, who we call the preacher, and I don't know if he deserves that title. I mean, the reason we give it to him is because he was Angola's preacher for over a decade, but we don't see it anywhere. He doesn't mention it, when he talks about himself, and we haven't heard any of it brought up yet in all the hearings. So, but that's the nickname we gave him. But how, if you want to grant, that's one thing, but he included in the grant that I believe your story. What? From what I recall, what I heard is that the woman who signed the affidavit, if that's what it was, if I'm hearing this correctly, that the violent act didn't happen. She said that her 13-year-old was jealous. So that's why he made it up. What? Tillis, you believe the story? What? So the police lied, his girlfriend lied, the 13-year-old lied. He's the only one who's being honest right now. I mean, you got to be kidding me. I feel like you just can't make it up. And Mr. Freeman said, well, even if you are saying the truth, you can't plead guilty. And that's something that many those who were violate don't understand, and they get bad advice by their attorneys. They say, oh, just plead to a misdemeanor and you won't get revoked. But that's not true. The parole contract that you signed means that if you're involved in any criminal activity, you get revoked. And that's vague language on purpose. You don't need to get prosecuted. You don't need to actually get a conviction. It's just criminal activity. You get cuffed, you can get revoked. And that's why it is, it's hard to stay out once you're on parole supervision, because it's easy to get revoked. Now, I do believe that Louisiana actually tries. We cover many other states, and they all have their own kind of system, but they're trying to listen out and hear him put up a case. But it was basically calling everyone a liar, and I didn't buy it. And I don't. As soon as something comes to choking a 13-year-old, I don't have empathy anymore. Now, they said that he's already been waiting like a year, and that it's most of his. I don't have his sentencing guidelines. I don't know what he was sentenced. The information that Richard has here for us is really just on his initial charge that he was serving for, which was complaint about slashed tires leads to arrest of Louisiana man. So he slashed a woman's tires, which, again, that's another thing I'm sure we can have consensus on, which is don't slash people's tires. Don't key their cars. Don't slash their tires. That's just not cool. Don't choke little boys. Don't slash tires. Like, that's just not cool. And at 32 years old, to have the maturity to do that. So a Louisiana man is behind bars after recent investigation. So they received a phone call. The police received a phone call about slashed tires. The initial investigation showed that an argument took place between an unidentified woman and Williams. I wonder if it's the same woman. The woman provided information about Williams, including that she had a valid order protection against him. Okay. Deputies confirmed that the protective order was legitimate, and they searched him. So she is an order protection against the man. Tillis, he sounds like a really good, believable guy, right? An investigator at the scene found that he was subject to protective order down search. After the search, they charged him with criminal trespass, violation of a protective order, which is a felony, and simple criminal damage to property. And then they found possession of meth and Pepsi. So that was how they justified the pat down, because he violated the protective order after he slashed her tires. Well, he was revoked. He's going to have to serve out the time. And we got that hot mic there at the end. It was quite a contrast to the first one that we heard. And I think it was a proper revocation. And with that, we can move to another one.
Okay, what about being seen at Chuck E. Cheese at your child's birthday party?
Yeah, my twins, they had just turned 5, and my wife had a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. So I ain't seen my children, and I mean, I did go. I did go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Back with the Chuck E. Cheese. I think this is the 5th or 6th Chuck E. Cheese themed parole hearing when it comes to those who have committed offenses of that kind of nature. I never realized that about Chuck E. Cheese until now. I'm going to think twice about going there. I don't think it can ever be the same. Anyways, another revocation hearing. Let's jump in.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing, Mr. Bell? Okay.
Hello.
Okay, now we can hear you. All right, let's go ahead and get started. To begin with, we have to state where we are. We're in Baton Rouge at the Department